The observation deck of Station Kepler 7 hummed with the usual cacophony of 100 different species going about their day. Mia sat quietly in her specialized mobility chair, her wolf-like ears twitching at every sound. The Lupari were a proud species. Warriors, hunters, survivors. But a genetic disorder had left Mia's legs paralyzed since birth. Her silvery fur caught the artificial light as she gazed out at the stars, trying to ignore the stares. She'd grown used to them over the cycles she'd been on the station. Her brother Max had been stationed here 6 months ago with the Terran Marine Corps, part of humanity's contribution to the Galactic Coalition forces. Where Max went, Mia followed. She refused to be left behind on Earth while her only family served light years away. "Look at the crippled puppy," a voice sneered in heavily accented Galactic Common. Mia's ears flattened against her skull. She recognized the voice. Kreth, a Vorgothi mercenary who'd been harassing her for weeks. The Vorgothi were massive creatures, bipedal reptilians standing nearly 8 feet tall, with scales like armor plating and strength that could bend steel. "Just ignore them," Mia whispered to herself, her clawed fingers tightening on her chair's controls. But Kreth wasn't alone today. 2 of his crew flanked him, their yellow eyes gleaming with malicious amusement. They circled her chair like predators cornering prey. "What's wrong, little wolf? Can't run away?" Kreth leaned down, his breath hot and reeking. "Your kind are supposed to be hunters. You're just broken." Mia's throat tightened. She'd faced discrimination before, from other Lupari who saw her disability as weakness, from aliens who viewed her as lesser. But something about Kreth's tone today felt different. Dangerous. "Please just leave me alone," she said, hating how small her voice sounded. Kreth's laughter was like rocks grinding together. "Or what, you'll call your human pet?" He reached out and grabbed the back of her chair. "Maybe you don't need this anymore. Maybe crawling would teach you humility." Before Mia could react, Kreth lifted the chair with her still in it and slammed it down. The specialized equipment, designed specifically for her physiology, cracked under the impact. Sparks flew from the control panel. He lifted it again, higher this time, and Mia screamed as he threw the chair across the deck. The world spun. Metal shrieked. Mia tumbled from the wreckage. Her useless legs twisted beneath her. Pain shot through her body, but worse was the humiliation. Around her, dozens of species watched. Some looked away. Others recorded it on their devices. No one intervened. Kreth stood over her, his claws flexing. "Not so proud now, are you, little—" The words died in his throat. Max had appeared at the entrance to the observation deck. The human marine stood 6 feet tall, small compared to many species, unremarkable by galactic standards. His brown hair was regulation cut, his uniform crisp, his face unreadable. But his eyes held something that made even Kreth pause. Humans were relatively new to the galactic stage. Most species saw them as weak. No natural armor, no enhanced strength, no exotic abilities. Just soft flesh and stubborn determination. But there were stories circulating through the coalition. Whispered tales of human marines who refused to die, who fought with a ferocity that defied logic. Max walked across the deck with measured steps. His boots clicked against the metal floor. Each step was controlled, precise. He knelt beside Mia, his calloused hands gentle as he checked her for injuries. "Max, I'm okay," Mia whispered, though tears streamed down her furred cheeks. "No, you're not." His voice was soft, but underneath ran a current of something primal. He helped her sit up, then slowly stood, positioning himself between his sister and the Vorgothi. "Human," Kreth rumbled. "Walk away. This doesn't concern you?" Max didn't respond immediately. He looked at the broken chair, at the scattered components of the medical equipment that had given his sister mobility and independence. He looked at the crowd that had watched it happen. Then he looked at Kreth. "You broke her chair," Max said quietly. "It's just a chair," Kreth laughed. "I'll pay for it if the cripple Max moved." Humans weren't the fastest species. Humans weren't the strongest. But humans had evolved as persistence hunters on a death world called Earth. And they'd perfected something most species didn't truly understand: violence. Max's fist connected with Kreth's jaw before the Vorgothi could react. The impact shouldn't have done anything. Vorgothi scales could withstand plasma fire. But Max wasn't aiming to break scales. He struck the nerve cluster beneath Kreth's jaw, a weak point he'd memorized from coalition anatomical databases. Kreth staggered, and Max pressed his advantage. He was smaller, weaker, but he was faster. He ducked under Kreth's clumsy counterattack and drove his elbow into the Vorgothi's knee joint. The mercenary howled as his leg buckled. Kreth's companions moved to intervene, but Max was already there. A kick to one's instep followed by a thumb strike to the throat. The second one received a palm heel to the snout that left him gasping. Humans might not have claws or fangs, but they'd learned to make weapons of every part of their body. Kreth roared and charged, relying on his superior mass. Max didn't try to stop him. Instead, he sidestepped and guided the momentum, using Kreth's own strength against him. The Vorgothi crashed into a support pillar with enough force to dent the metal. Before Kreth could recover, Max was on him. He grabbed the mercenary's arm and twisted, applying pressure to the joint in a way that made the massive alien scream. With clinical precision, Max dislocated Kreth's shoulder. "You broke her chair," Max repeated, his voice still eerily calm. "That chair took 6 months to build. It was custom-made for her physiology. It gave her freedom." He released Kreth's arm and grabbed him by the throat ridge, forcing the Vorgothi to look at him. "You humiliated her in front of everyone. You hurt someone who couldn't fight back." Max's eyes were cold now, devoid of mercy. "That's not strength. That's cowardice." Station security finally arrived, a squad of Centauri guards with stun weapons drawn. They stopped when they saw the scene. 3 Vorgothi mercenaries on the ground and 1 human standing over them without a scratch. The lead guard, a 4-armed Centauri named Vex, surveyed the damage. "Marine Max, what happened here?" Max gestured to Mia and the broken chair. "They assaulted my sister and destroyed her medical equipment." I responded proportionally. Vex's mandibles clicked, the Centauri equivalent of a laugh. "Proportionally right," he signaled his team. "Take the Vorgothi to medical, then to holding. I'll need statements from witnesses." As the guards hauled away Kreth and his crew, the crowd finally found their voices. Several beings stepped forward to give statements, shamefaced that they hadn't intervened earlier. Max ignored them all. He returned to Mia and carefully lifted her into his arms. "I'm sorry I wasn't here sooner," he said softly. Mia wrapped her arms around her brother's neck, burying her face in his shoulder. "You came. That's what matters." Max carried her toward the medical bay where they could assess her injuries and begin the process of getting her a new chair. As they left the observation deck, Mia heard the whispers starting. "Did you see that human? Took down 3 Vorgothi alone. Maybe we underestimated them. Humans don't forget when you hurt their family." Mia smiled despite everything. The galaxy was learning what she'd always known. Humans might not be the biggest or the strongest, but they were stubborn, resourceful, and fiercely protective. And when you threatened what a human loved, you discovered why Earth had birthed persistence hunters who conquered their entire world. Max adjusted his hold on her. "Let's get you fixed up, sis. Max, yeah? Thank you for being my brother." His arms tightened around her just slightly. "Always, Mia, always. And